The Agriculture Minister addresses claims surrounding the fisheries bill. The Prime Minister speaks on capital projects, and 4 alleged murderers have their day in court. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Tuesday, January 12th. Agriculture and Marine Resources Minister Michael Pintard set the record straight once and for all about that fisheries bill 2020, that as some seek to paint a picture that the bill is discriminatory. Here's Laurencia Smith with the story.
With a lawsuit filed against the government by a group of foreign-born fishermen, their Bahamian spouses, and commercial fishing businesses, claiming that the Fishery Bill 2020 is unconstitutional and discriminatory, Agriculture and Marine Resources Minister Michael Pintard told the media just ahead of the weekly cabinet meeting that it's unfortunate when the government is seeking to ensure that marine resources are protected for generations to come.
The bill addresses governance, making sure that stakeholders participate in how their sector is run. Secondly, it addresses the issue of managing the blue economy in general, how 4 different ministries ought to cooperate with each other in terms of making sure that we have spatial planning, so that Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Tourism, Ministry for the Environment, Ministry for Fisheries are working in tandem with each other. So it deals with the issue of diversification. The bill also looks at how do we manage each fisheries resources so that they are managed in a sustainable way. We have 3 iconic species: lobster, conch, grouper. 2 of the 3 are under threat.
Minister Pintard notes that it is his job as a policy maker to protect marine resources, adding that the components of the bill that addresses immigration seeks to do this.
How do we protect resources that are constrained and are at risk? So what I don't want to happen is for it to be lost in this discussion that parliamentarians are in place to protect the patrimony of the Bahamas for future generation of Bahamians. And that is essentially what this bill is about. You ask an excellent question. How is it that this managed to have so much traction? If discrimination is the ultimate issue, then let's have an immigration debate. And I would gladly join that, because I do believe we need to move faster to ensure that those persons who qualify for permanent residence, for citizenship, that happens. And I think Mr. Johnson is doing a wonderful job speeding up that process. But let's have that debate. But to hijack a fisheries bill on the basis of one component, that's unfortunate, and I don't think it will happen. But if the court makes a decision, again, I believe we should go to the next level. Let's enshrine it in the Constitution.
JCN News team understands that the applicants of the lawsuit include, among others, commercial and fishery businesses such as Fish Farmers Limited, Aubrey Seafood Limited, Geneva Brass Seafood and Paradise Fisheries Limited. The Fishery Bill 2020 and the Immigration Amendment Bill 2020 were recently passed in both houses of Parliament.
That whatever we do in law, that it jives well or it's synchronized with the Constitution, which is why I believe the ultimate step is ensure in the Constitution we carve out our marine resources. Persons are talking about aragonite. It is one component of the blue economy, one component of the marine resources that we have. And we ought to, as policymakers, we ought to ensure that Bahamian rights for future generations are protected. You should ask the interesting question.
I'm Laurencia Smith for JCN News.
Capital projects throughout the islands will boost the economy, according to the Prime Minister, who told reporters this past Friday at the opening of the Roderick Newton Higgs Bridge over on Spanish Wells, Eleuthera, that a lot of projects are about to commence. Dr. Minnis contends that these projects that are on course would assist in moving the country forward.
We have a lot of projects that are about to commence, projects that are on course. We think that would assist us in moving forward. We also think with the vaccine coming on and the first world countries moving as aggressively as possible to vaccinate their population, I think that would offer some degree of relief. Individuals, I think, have been cooped up in one particular location for a long time.
Dr. Minnis adds that he believes once there is some degree of freedom of movement, the Bahamas will see a great rebound.
And that's why it's essential for us to follow the protocols that we have in place, continue to have our country recognized as a COVID somewhat free area. Of course, you know, New Providence and Grand Bahama may have its challenges, but manageable, nothing to be too concerned about. But most of our islands are COVID-free, and therefore, for all intents and purposes, we are a COVID-free destination.
A low number of laboratories in the country reporting COVID-19 results for January 11th is the reason behind 0 cases of COVID-19 being reported for the Bahamas yesterday. Thus, health officials noting in their report that the reported number of COVID-19 cases may not be a true reflection of the burden of the disease. According to the ministry's update number 291, 15 tests were completed yesterday, none of them repeated and all returning negative. Active cases therefore remain at 1,446 as health officials record 35 cases over the weekend, including 18 males, 16 females, and 1 gender unknown. Hospitalized cases have decreased, with just 4 cases considered moderately ill, 1 in the South Beach Acute Care Center and 3 in the Princess Margaret Hospital. Some 55,292 tests have been completed since the start of the pandemic in the country. The death toll remains at 175. Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis will address the nation tonight at 8 p.m. The National Insurance Board extends a verification grace period for long-time benefit verifications. We learn as much from a press statement released by NIB yesterday. The grace periods that have been extended are as follows. Persons aged 60 and over for all benefits, including retirement benefit, and all persons on invalidity and disability benefits who live in the Bahamas have until July 1st, 2021. All persons under the age of 60 who are recipients of survivors' benefits have until March 31st, 2021, and all long-term beneficiaries who reside overseas also have until March 31st this year. Persons who have had a change in circumstance that impacts their continued eligibility for the long-term benefit should continue to notify NIB via email at verification@nib-bahamas.com as soon as possible. Since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic last year, March, NIB halted most of its face-to-face operations, including in-person pension verifications, but continue to receive emailed and Dropbox verifications. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.